Welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into one of the most interesting and frequently searched collectible coins from the United States Mint, the 1973 Roosevelt dime with the Denver, DE mint mark. This coin may look like a regular dime at first glance, but collectors know it carries surprising value when found in high-grade condition, especially with certain features, strong strikes, and rare mint errors. So stay with me as we break down everything you need to know about the history, key details, grading potential, and the top valuable errors that can make your 1973 D dime worth much more than face value. The 1973 D Roosevelt dime was struck at the Denver Mint with a massive mintage of over 455 million pieces, making it a common coin in circulation. But despite the high production numbers, finding one today in pristine mint state condition is far from easy. Many examples spent decades in pocket change, coin jars, and circulation where scratches, wear, and fading reduced their quality. That's why collectors pay special attention to high-grade coins, especially those graded MS65, MS66, and the exceptionally rare MS67 or higher. A 1973 D dime with razor-sharp details, clean fields, and full torch lines can sell for impressive prices at auction, often surprising new collectors. One of the biggest value boosters for this dime is the condition of the reverse torch and the strength of the strike. Coins with full bands, meaning the horizontal bands on the torch are fully separated and sharply defined, are extremely desirable. These coins show that the dime was struck with high pressure and excellent precision. While many 1973 D dimes look soft or weakly struck, a true full bands example can bring significantly higher premiums in the collector market. Some examples in top condition have sold for well over $100, and in rare cases, even more, depending on the grading service and market demand at the time. Now let's talk about the errors, because this is where the 1973 D Roosevelt dime gets even more exciting. Collectors love mint errors, and certain varieties of the 1973 D dime can turn an ordinary coin into a standout treasure. One of the key errors to watch for is the off-center strike. If your dime shows the design shifted noticeably off-center while still showing the date and mint mark, it can bring anywhere from a few dollars to well over $100 depending on how dramatic the shift is. Another valuable error to watch for is the clipped planchet error. This looks like a small curved bite taken out of the rim of the coin. Clean, well-defined clips add real value and can sell for much more than regular examples. There are also double die errors, which occur when the die strikes the coin with a slightly doubled image. These can appear on the date, the mint mark, or the lettering on the obverse or reverse. While major double die varieties for the 1973 D dime are not extremely common, even moderate doubling can make your coin more desirable and raise its market value. And don't forget die cracks and cuds, small breaks in the die that leave raised lines or bumps on the coin. These can also raise collector interest, especially if the damage is large or visually striking. Because of these possibilities, it's extremely important to examine your 1973 D dime carefully. Use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe, check the rim, look for die wear, doubling, clipping, or misstrikes, and always pay attention to the condition. Even a coin that looks normal at first glance might have subtle characteristics that increase its value. Many successful collectors have found valuable coins simply by paying attention to those small details others overlook. Finally, if you believe your 1973 D Roosevelt dime is in exceptional condition or shows a rare error, consider getting it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can dramatically increase buyer confidence and may help you get a much higher selling price if you decide to sell the coin. Grading protects your coin, verifies authenticity, and gives collectors a clear idea of the coin's condition and rarity. If you enjoyed learning about the 1973 D Roosevelt dime and want more detailed coin guides, make sure to check out my other videos where we explore the hidden value of coins you might already have in your home or pocket change. The 1978 Roosevelt dime with no mint mark. Even though this coin is a regular circulation dime, collectors know it can hold surprising value when found in higher grades, especially when it shows strong details, full torch lines, or rare mint errors. Whether you're a new collector, a coin hunter, or someone who just found a 1978 dime in pocket change, this video will help you understand everything you need to know about its history, value, grading, and the top errors that can turn a normal dime into a valuable collectible. The 1978 no-mint-mark Roosevelt dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint with a large mintage, reaching over 746 million pieces. With such high production numbers, most people assume this coin is extremely common, and in circulated condition, it is. But what many collectors don't realize is that high-grade examples from 1978 are much harder to find than the mintage suggests. Most dimes from this year spent decades circulating in everyday transactions, rubbing against other coins and picking up scratches, wear, and marks that reduce their grade. That's why mint-state, high-quality 1978 dimes without a mint mark are more appealing to collectors than people expect. One of the most important details collectors look for on the 1978 dime is the strength of the strike, especially on the reverse torch. The torch on the Roosevelt dime has horizontal bands, and when these bands are fully separated and sharply defined, the coin is considered to have full bands, often abbreviated as FB. A 1978 dime with these crisp, full bands is much rarer than regular strikes, and that rarity boosts its value significantly. Coins graded MS66 or MS67 with full bands can sell for impressive prices because collectors know how tough they are to find. Even small differences in sharpness can raise or lower the value dramatically. So if you're sorting through your change or going through coin rolls, make sure you inspect the torch carefully with a magnifying glass. Aside from strong strikes, errors are where things get exciting for the 1978 no-mint-mark dime. Some of the most valuable error types to watch for include off-center strikes, where the design is shifted noticeably to one side but the date is still visible. The more dramatic the off-center shift, the more collectible the coin becomes. Another popular error is the clipped planchet, which looks like a curved or straight section missing from the rim of the coin. Clean, obvious clips are always desirable and can sell for much more than regular examples. There are also double die errors, which occur when the die strikes the coin with a slight doubling of the image. This kind of doubling might appear on the date, the lettering, or the portrait of President Roosevelt. While major double die varieties from 1978 are not extremely common, even minor doubling can add extra value and interest. You may also find die cracks, die chips, or cuds, raised lines or bumps caused by damage or breaks in the die. These mint-made flaws can catch collector attention, especially when they're large or unusually shaped. Another factor that influences the value of the 1978 no-mint-mark dime is its overall luster and surface quality. Collectors pay close attention to contact marks, scratches, dullness, and discoloration. A dime with brilliant luster, clean fields, and minimal marks stands out immediately. Because so many coins from 1978 are found with heavy circulation wear, finding a sharply struck, well-preserved example is much rarer than the huge mintage might suggest. If your coin looks especially clean, shiny, or sharply detailed, it may be worth a second look to determine whether it might qualify as a higher-grade collectible. If you think your 1978 Roosevelt dime might be a high-value example, either due to its condition or a rare error, it may be worth sending the coin to a grading service such as PCGS or NGC. Having your coin professionally graded and certified can significantly increase its value, especially if it receives a high mint-state grade or the full bands designation. Graded coins also tend to sell faster and attract more serious collectors. Keep in mind that while most 1978 dimes are worth face value, the rare high-grade examples, full bands coins, and dramatic errors are the ones that bring serious collector interest. That's why it's always worth examining any older dime you come across. Many collectors have found valuable coins simply by paying attention to small details that others overlook. The 1983 Roosevelt dime with the Philadelphia P mint mark. Even though millions were produced, this dime can carry surprising collector value depending on its condition, strike quality, and rare mint errors. So if you want to know what makes the 1983 P dime special, what details to look for, and how much these coins can be worth, this video will give you a complete breakdown. The 1983 P. Roosevelt dime was minted at the Philadelphia Mint with a mintage of more than 647 million coins. At first glance, that seems extremely common. But what collectors know, and what many newer coin hunters don't realize, is that 1983 was one of the toughest years for finding truly high-grade circulation coins. Because no official U.S. mint sets were produced in 1982 or 1983, nearly all dimes from those 2 years entered circulation immediately. That means very few untouched, mint-state examples were saved at the time. As a result, well-preserved 1983 P dimes in higher grades are much scarcer than the mintage numbers suggest. Collectors especially value 1983 P Roosevelt dimes graded MS-65, MS-66, and the extremely rare MS-67 examples with exceptional luster and clean surfaces. A top-quality 1983 P dime can sell for strong premiums because it takes so much effort to find one without scratches, wear, or dullness from circulation. If you're going through coin rolls or old jars of change, always inspect these dimes closely. They're one of the most underrated modern coins with real value potential. A major value booster for this coin is the strength of its reverse strike. The Roosevelt dime is known for its horizontal torch bands, and when these bands are completely separated and clear, the coin earns the full bands designation. Full bands examples of the 1983 P dime are dramatically rarer than regular strikes. Many 1983 P dimes show a soft or weak strike because of the heavy use of the mint dies that year. So if you find a sharply struck 1983 P dime with bold separation on the torch lines, you may have a much more valuable coin than you think. These full bands dimes can command significant premiums in high grades and are eagerly sought after by serious collectors. Another key area that determines value is the overall luster and surface preservation. Since these coins went into circulation immediately in 1983, finding one with strong mint shine, minimal contact marks, and clear details is extremely challenging. A coin with bright luster and crisp edges stands out immediately, and is well worth a closer look. Many valuable 1983 P dimes discovered today come from coin roll hunting or older collections where a few uncirculated pieces were unknowingly saved decades ago. Now let's talk about era coins, which make this year even more exciting. Era collectors look for off-center strikes, where part of the design is shifted noticeably to one side but the date remains visible. The more dramatic the off-center shift, the more desirable the coin becomes. Another popular error is the clipped planchet. If you find a curve, straight edge, or angled clip missing from the rim of your 1983 P dime, it could be worth significantly more than face value. There are also double die errors, coins struck with doubled images on the date, lettering, or Roosevelt's profile. Even moderate doubling can increase value because 1983 P doubled dies are not extremely common. Other mint-made varieties include die cracks, die chips, and cuds, which appear as raised metal lines, bumps, or blobs caused by damaged or broken dies. Some collectors specialize in these defects, especially the large or unusual ones. So it's always smart to inspect the surface carefully, especially around the rim, the date, and the lettering. Because of the unusual minting circumstances of 1983, grading plays an important role in establishing value. If you think your 1983 P dime has unusually sharp details, exceptional luster, or a rare error, you may want to send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. High-grade certified examples can command strong prices, and full bands or dramatic errors can add even more value. A slabbed coin gives buyers confidence and often sells faster and for higher premiums. With no mint sets to preserve pristine examples, tough striking conditions, and the potential for rare mint errors, the 1983 P Roosevelt dime has become a favorite among collectors. Most examples in circulation are worth face value, but the higher grade pieces, the full bands coins, and the major errors are the real winners. If you take the time to check your change carefully, you might come across a coin that's worth far more than 10 cents. The 1987 Roosevelt dime with the Denver D mint mark. Even though this tiny 10-cent coin seems common, certain features, high-grade examples, and rare mint errors can turn it into a valuable find. So if you've ever wondered what makes a 1987 D Roosevelt dime worth more than face value, what to look for when examining your coins, and why collectors pay close attention to this year, then stay tuned because this guide will walk you through everything you need to know. The 1987 D Roosevelt dime was minted at the Denver Mint with a mintage of over 754 million coins. With such a huge production number, most people assume there can't be anything special about it. But collectors know that the real value of this coin lies not in the mintage number itself but in the condition, the strike quality, and the presence of hard-to-find mint errors. Most 1987 D dimes entered circulation immediately, meaning very few pristine examples were saved. Coins from the 1980s often show heavy wear, dull surfaces, and numerous contact marks because they passed through countless hands, registers, and coin machines. That's why mint-state examples, especially those at the higher grades, are much scarcer than people expect. When it comes to value, the first thing collectors examine is the strength of the strike, especially on the reverse side of the coin. The Roosevelt dime features the torch, olive branch, and oak branch design, and the horizontal bands on the torch are the key detail to focus on. If these bands are sharply separated and fully defined, the coin can be classified as full bands, often abbreviated as FB. Full bands examples of the 1987 D dime are significantly harder to find than regular strikes. Many dimes from this year show mushy or weak detail due to worn dies or fast production speeds. So if you find a 1987 D dime with crisp torch lines and bright luster, you may be looking at a coin worth far more than 10 cents. In higher mint-state grades, full bands examples can bring strong premiums among collectors. Luster is another important factor. Many 1987 D dimes show dull or cloudy surfaces because of poor handling or long-term circulation. A coin with bright, reflective luster and minimal surface marks immediately stands out. Coins graded MS65, MS66, and the exceptionally rare MS67 range are the ones that attract the most interest. Examples with near-perfect surfaces, strong eye appeal, and minimal abrasions can sell for much higher prices, especially when authenticated by a major grading service. Now let's talk about mint errors, which are often the biggest source of value for coins from this era. One of the most desirable errors for the 1987 D dime is the off-center strike. If the design is shifted noticeably off-center but the date remains visible, the coin instantly becomes collectible. The further off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin usually is. Another key error to watch for is the clipped planchet, where a curved or straight section is missing from the edge of the coin. These clips happen during the blank cutting process and can make a normal dime worth several dollars or even more depending on the size and shape of the clip. You should also look for double die errors. These happen when the coin is struck with a die that has a doubled image. Doubling can appear on the date, lettering, or even parts of President Roosevelt's portrait. True doubled dies are always collectible, and while not extremely common for 1987 D dimes, they do exist and can increase the value significantly. Die cracks, die chips, and cuds, which look like raised metal lines, bumps, or blobs caused by damaged dies, are also worth looking for, especially when they are large or visually striking. Another thing that makes the 1987 D dime interesting is the way it fits into the broader history of late 20th century coinage. The 1980s were a decade of heavy production, rapid coin circulation, and limited collector saving of new coins. This means high-quality modern dimes are surprisingly harder to find than their mintage numbers suggest. Many collectors today are just starting to recognize the value of building high-grade sets of modern dimes, and that growing interest is helping coins like the 1987 D gain attention. If you believe your 1987 D Roosevelt dime has unusual sharpness, strong luster, or a rare error, you may want to have it graded by PCGS or NGC. Certified high-grade coins often sell for more because they give buyers confidence in the condition and authenticity. A coin that earns a top grade or shows a dramatic mint error can jump significantly in value once it's encapsulated. Most 1987 D dimes in circulation will be worth face value, but the high-grade coins, sharply struck full bands examples, and rare mint errors are where the real potential lies. So always take an extra moment to check your dimes carefully. You never know when a small detail like a doubled letter, a missing piece of metal, or a strong torch strike could turn a common coin into a valuable collectible.